So how do we install Gradle? Well, there are a couple of ways that we can do this. We can first of all go to the website, so http://gradle.org, or we can use a tool, something called GVM, which stands for the Groovy Environment Manager. And this is available from gvmtool.net. So GVM allows us to install many Groovy-based runtimes. So we can install Gradle, we can install things like Gradle, so other Groovy frameworks using GVM. That's the upside of GVM. The downside, it's difficult, if not impossible, to get this working on Windows. So using the GVM is great on Linux, it's great on the Mac, on Windows less so. So we'll see an example of this being run on Linux just to see how this thing works. So to grab Gradle, we simply go to gradle.org, click on download. The latest version is 2.6, and this will download, and once that's done, we can go and install it. So once we have Gradle downloaded, we can simply unzip it to the location of our choice. I like to place my tools in my home directory, so home Kevin J, and copy Gradle into here. So I've copied Gradle into the Gradle 2.6 directory, and to use Gradle we have to add Gradle2.6/bin to the path. However, if I then go and download a new copy of Gradle, I'd have to add Gradle2.7/bin to the path and delete Gradle2.6/bin. So to try and mitigate that, what I like to do is to create a link in Unix terms between a Gradle folder and my current release folder. So Microsoft have a tool called Junction, and we use Junction to create junction points or reparse points in the file system, so we can create a link from one virtual folder to a real physical folder, for example. So here I can say junction Gradle, Gradle-2.6, and this will create a virtual directory, a link from a folder called Gradle to the physical folder called Gradle-2.6. And if I now, for example, cd into my Gradle folder and do a dir, where the Gradle folder is a virtual directory, but it's pointing at the real physical directory. So on my path, I simply add an entry for chome kevinj/Gradle/bin, and I'll have that point at whatever the latest copy of Gradle is. So if I go to the desktop, bring up the properties for the PC, go to Advanced System Settings and Environment Variables and Path, and do Edit here, I can say home Kevin J Gradle bin. Say OK, close everything down. I'll need to restart my command prompt, and once I've done that, Gradle is now installed. So I run Gradle, it just gives me some help information. So what about GVM, or the Groovy Environment Manager? As we said, we get this from gvmtool.net, and we download it by using curl, and this is the command that we use. Once we do that, we add GVM to our path, and then we can use GVM to install the tools that we need. To install Gradle, we do GVM install Gradle. So let's see an example of this. So inside Linux, inside a terminal window, we use curl to download GVM. And then once we have that, we need to add GVM to our path. And we see GVM tells us how to do this using the source command. And then once we have that, if we type GVM help, we'll see a list of candidates that we can install. So we can see, for example, there's Glide and Gradle and Grails and some other tools that we could use as well. So if we do GVM install Gradle and leave this run for a few seconds. So Gradle is now installed. It's downloaded 2.6, which is the latest version. We'd like that to be the default. If I now go and type Gradle, again, it gives us the Gradle help. So GVM on certain environments is a nice, easy way to install Gradle.